Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. We have few quick questions here. When self-realization is the goal, intellect decides one's obligations. Some may be long-term obligations, some may be daily activities. Due to the distractions of the mind, if one is not able to perform his obligation, it creates agitation. Is it good to have desire to perform obligations? Or does it mean that desire for self-realization is not strong? What does one do here? So what he is asking is, I fix the goal of realization and my intellect is deciding few things as obligations. And if I am not able to perform those obligations, I get agitated. So, why unnecessarily fix something as obligation and then not able to fulfill it and get agitated? It is better not to have the things as obligations. No, life becomes easier, he says. Correct? Says. It's better not to have a desire to perform obligations. No, it's correct. See, there are a few things we need to understand here. See, first of all, when you fix the goal of self-realization, your intellect will decide obligation. Now here you need to have an understanding of what is meant by obligation here. What is an obligatory duty? Your obligation is to realize the self. That's all. It's not that you do obligatory activities and then you realize. No, it's the same thing here. They are not two different things. It says, I have an obligation. If you have a desire, then you will be agitated. You cannot escape. Doesn't matter towards what you have that desire. And if you are having the goal of realization, then you can't have a desire towards the goal of realization. Desire and the goal of self-realization can never go together. They'll never meet. You cannot say that I have a desire for realization, for which you need to go one step back and define what is a desire. What do you like? To put it in a simple language, use the word liking. Instead of desire, use the word liking. You can desire or you can like only the things that you know. You can never have a desire, like, or a dislike that you don't know. Self-realization is something that you don't know. Not only that you don't know, you will never get to know. Not in the present tense. Even in future, you will not know. Okay, today I don't know mathematics, the child says. But over a period of training, a child can become a mathematician. Today I don't know music. Over a period of time, I can learn music. One day I will get to know what is music, how to play that instrument, how to play that game, what is that subject, what is, stock market, every aspect. But when it comes to self-realization, you can never get the knowledge of self-realization. That is why we don't keep that goal of self-realization. Because even to pitch up that goal of self-realization is just as empty sound actually. It's just a word, something we have just constructed just to get an idea. Let's say if you see the scriptures don't talk much with reference to God, Brahman, as much as it discusses about the world. Hardly you will find a great debate, a discussion. That's very, very limited. Very less. The discussions about God, Brahman, truth, reality, all that. But with reference to samsara, with reference to the world, there is a 95% of scriptures is only about the world. Only 5% is about God. Why? Because you can never get to know what is it, but you can know the other one. What is it? You can probe samsara. That is why we don't say self-realization. We call it as liberation. Liberation. Desire to liberate yourself. That is possible. Why? Because you can understand, you can recognize that you are in samsara. You are imprisoned. I want to get out of that imprisonment. What is the life out of imprisonment? That we don't care. That I don't know. But I don't want to be inside the prison. That's all. I don't want to be in this prison. I want to get out of it. That is this one. Now the same thing we are putting it in the other one. That is why whenever you use the word self-realization, when I pitch up the goal of self-realization, that coinage, self-realization, is coined by somebody. It's not yours. Someone have been telling you, every Tuesday and Thursday, somebody comes and keeps on telling you self-realization, self-realization, self-realization. Therefore, you get hypnotized to repeat that same thing, self-realization. That is why the practical exercise in the previous chapter, he said, study, reflect, and then introspect. Gain knowledge first. That's the first thing you do when you begin your day. First thing, what are you supposed to do? Wake up. And what you do first thing, sir? Don't put on your jogging shoe and start running. Jogging. You see that in the morning, 4:30, you wake up. You see people go, they go for jogging. I'm not against it. No, I'm not saying, you don't go for fitness. But what is the first thing you're supposed to do? Study. Gain that knowledge. And then comes all that. So the practical exercise, when he says, that's the first thing you do. In gaining knowledge, there are two things. One is what is being explored by the experts in that field. Like if you take mathematics, you study Newton, you study Pythagoras, You study what is being done by him, what is done by, Dr. Nash, what is being done by him. Like now you go to astronomy, there are, you go to physics, there are people. Now every subject, there is a great contribution done by people. You take that first. First try to cover the ground that is being covered by those people. Then what you have to do, sir, assimilate it. How much you understand of what they have explored. Now you take that word self-realization, but have you assimilated that term self-realization? That is the point here. That's why the reflection comes into picture. So when he says, when self-realization is the goal, intellect decides one's obligations. Now, on what basis you had fixed? Who pitches up that goal of realization? This is the intellect that pitches up the goal of realization. And intellect decides obligations. What is obligation? Obligation means what I am supposed to do to realize the goal that I have set. That's called obligation. Now, I have fixed a goal of self-realization. Now, we need to ask the question, why I have fixed that goal of self-realization? Then, when I am pitching up the goal of self-realization, I need to conceive what are the obstacles, what are the odds, what are the difficulties that I will encounter. When I encounter such obstacles, the stumbling blocks, the pitfalls, the difficulties, how I am going to overcome, what is the support system I have, get that. Then comes duration, how long it will take, how demanding it is. Now, we don't see all these things. We think, self-realization, I fix the goal and say that I am going to realize the self straight away. I will get it. Straight away, we are going to get this idea of this. No. When you fix the goal, when you have this, don't allow your mind to take over. What is mind taking over? Immediately the mind will keep asking, how long I have to do? You see, like people ask this question, how long are we to study this book Vedanta Treatise? I said, I don't know, but one thing I can be sure, 25 years. What is 25? I say, I am studying for 25 years for that one book. How long to study? Why? How long, sir? Because we want to accelerate the process, quickly come, quickly get out. That speed we want. Why do you want that speed? Why do you want to quickly complete? Because it is distractions of the mind. What is the distractions of the mind? The result orientation is the distraction of the mind. Comes, I am not able to perform obligations. Why? It is every day I have to do. It is so boring. It is so bugging. You see, every day. How can you keep doing it every day? They say, in the last year, in the analysis, one fellow was reading, saying the government had lost income from excise duty from petrol, diesel, but they had compensated that with LPG cylinders. Why? During lockdown, everybody is cooking in their house. So the gas consumption has increased, but they are not traveling. Therefore, petrol is. So what the loss they had made here, they had compensated with this one. So it is tallied. There is no problem. Yes. The government is not having any big issues, he says. Cooking every day to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh, frustrating that is. When you can keep on doing it lifetime, who will do that? Lifetime. Don't say, ladies in the house, women. It's nothing to do with man or woman, please. It is to do with what? When you can do it without getting into that boredom setting in, frustration setting in, to do it on a daily basis. Every day I have to do this obligation. What? Breakfast I have to cook. By that, as that fellow is having his breakfast, he will ask, what's for lunch? As having lunch, he will ask, what is for dinner? And in some houses, in between snacks also they'll have. Someone recommended me to have, early dinner. So after this one, now I'm having 2 dinners. Before the class and after the class. Earlier, at least, before all that, I used to go for the class. Evening I'll start, I go for have the class, come back, and the night I'll have dinner and sleep. That's all. Now, evening snacks along with tea, and then this one. How much, sir? Without boredom to continue doing it day in and out needs enormous amount of identification. If that identification is not there, you cannot do it day in and day out. That is not possible. It has got nothing to do with man or woman, remember. It's to do with that identification. You see, that's why mother will never get bored. Mistress will get bored. Isn't that? Why? Identification. See, only when this identification is what is commonly used as love. You must have the total dedication to that goal of self-realization, to that obligation. Every time you are performing that obligation, the mark of performing obligations is you are getting closer to your goal. It is taking you towards the goal. You are going one step closer, one step closer, one step closer. You should feel what? You should get so excited, and you should be wanting to do more of it. That's the mark of obligation. Obligations means you are performing your obligations, means you should be getting that joy, not agitation. From where that agitation comes? Agitation comes because of we want the results faster. Why do you want the results faster? Because the pain in the samsara is so much. So you want to quickly jump out of it. See, it is so painful. Obligations are so painful. Therefore, he says, what? I want to get out of it quickly. Now you cannot. That's what he says. Is it good to have a desire? No. You cannot afford to develop. That's the first lesson Krishna teaches in the Gita. And we think entire Bhagavad Gita is only. This is the first lesson. He says, drop the fruit of action. Continue performing the action. And we think that's the entire Bhagavad Gita. That's not entire Bhagavad Gita. This is the preliminary step, baby steps that you take in the spiritual path, is to do your obligations. And the frustration, the disturbances comes because of what? The desire. What is the disturbance in the desire? Every desire comes along with expectation. Something. Every desire has an expectation along with it, whether it is selfish or unselfish desire. Doesn't make a difference. Selfish desire, also unselfish desire, has expectations along with it. And that expectations will not be met. Desire will get fulfilled, but expectation will not be met. All the desires, like this poem that we saw, olive tree, that hermit has asked for the rain, rain came. He asked for the sunshine, sunshine came. All that he has desired, he got. But by evening song, that olive tree had died. That olive tree died. But all that he had desired, he got. That's the beauty in the poem. Whatever you ask for will be given. But what you expect out of that fulfillment of that desire, that you will not achieve. That will frustrate you. Even in these obligations, if you have a desire to perform obligations, somewhere down the line, your mind has brought its thing. That's what I keep on saying. Mind always comes in the back door entry. It'll never come in the front door. Back door entry. The mind has the desire, has taken a back door entry. Does it mean the desire for self-realization? No, it's not the desire for self-realization. Understanding of self-realization and understanding of obligations are not deepened enough. That is why all this problem. See, the problem in life is not, lack of knowledge. Problem in life is lack of conviction. You are not convinced about it. You just, there is no understanding of it. Like corruption. No, there should not be corruption in the country. Anti-corruption movement. Let us all go for anti-corruption movement. Hardly anyone stops back and asks the question, what is corruption? We just take it for granted. Corruption should not be there. I don't approve of corruption. I'm not saying you should approve corruption, you should encourage it, please. That's not my point. Nor I am saying, you should not have anti-corruption, movements and all that. You do whatever you want. That's an independent one. But how many of us sit back and probe into what is corruption? Where is corruption? Do we think on that? I'm not going to answer it. You got to find the answer. Right? Don't expect me to give an answer for that. Right? You find out. What is corruption? That's it. What do you mean by corruption? Corruption should not be there. What do you mean by it? Why do you say that? What is it? Where is it? How come suddenly this thing called the corruption started existing? From where it comes? What is the root? Now, if you want to work in terms of anti-corruption, Have you understood the grassroots level? Have you gone to that? This is what we mean by understanding. That is why we say first thing you have to do is what? Study, reflect. He says you need to go into this study and reflect. The problem is this study and reflection when it comes to philosophy is problem. This systematic and methodic study is not possible for us. Why? Because systematic methodic means discipline. Systematic means disciplined way of going about it. You see, essentially mind is what? Indisciplined in nature. Wherever I am going to get a quick fix. That is why you think in terms of spirituality, religion, straight away your idea will go to practice. You should practice. You should do something. You should do something. You should do something. Now he gave practical exercise. Nothing to do. This is what? Study, he says. What are you supposed to do, sir? Study, he says. I have never seen him, asking any other question. Every time we go and meet him, one question he never misses to ask. Not only me, anybody goes. You speak to him, come back. I ask him, did he ask that question? Yes. What is it? Are you studying? Are you studying? Are you studying? No. Theoretical. Now we think it's all just theoretical. What is the point in theoretical? It's all waste. What is required is what? Action. Doing is more important for us. That's why he is also asking, what does one do here? Doing is more important. Now, doing is not essential. Understanding is essential. What you have to understand? Go back to the basic understanding of the nature of obligations and the goal of realization. What do you mean by this goal of realization? And what do you mean by obligations? What is the connection between obligations, desire, and realization? How they are connected? Go into that first. Get on to that study. Get on to that assimilation. Try to assimilate that knowledge. Try to digest it. Try to internalize it. That internalization is what we do in that study and reflection. Most people will get bugged, but I can't do anything. Because what you are going to practice, what you are going to do, what you are going to live is only what you have understood. You cannot live my understanding, I cannot live your understanding. If that is possible, then one Ramana is enough. One Ramakrishna Paramahamsa enough. One Ramatirtha is enough. One Buddha enough. One Krishna enough. All of us would have learned. Now that's not the way it works. You have to practice it. Unless the first step is understood, you should not move to the second step. Like in the theorems he says, in geometrical theorems, if you don't understand the first theorem, you cannot go to the second. Without understanding the second, you cannot go to the fourth. You cannot go to 24. You cannot go to 32. Only in religion, we don't bother about any one of those things. We just straight away do one field, which we never believe discipline is required. See, that's why we don't understand the difference between unselfish and selfless. Well, we all think unselfish person to be spiritual. Unselfish person is not spiritual. Unselfishness and selfishness both are same. Only the selfless is spiritual. The selflessness is spirituality. We think unselfishness is spiritual. First thing, you need to develop that understanding. Now, that understanding needs to be tested. What is the test of understanding? A hallmark of spiritual understanding. Vairagya. The dispassion. That dispassionate understanding. Understanding should result in that dispassion. Now, anything you do in the name of spiritual should increase, should ignite, should intensify your dispassion, vairagya. If vairagya is not developing, increasing, then this practice, whatever you are doing, is not spiritual. You probe into it. Okay. There is another quick question here. The state of waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper has been called conditioned consciousness. The real self has unconditioned consciousness. What is the meaning of conditioned and unconditioned? Correct. That state of the self is referred to as this, as the conditioned state. The waking, dream, and deep sleep are referred as conditioned state. Conditioned by what? Now see here. This is the state. The three states of consciousness is when that pure consciousness conditioned by the gross body becomes the waker experiencing the waking state. Waking what? Waking state of consciousness. In that same pure consciousness were to be conditioned by the subtle body, you take the form of a dreamer experiencing the dream state of consciousness. Pure consciousness conditioned by the causal body, you take the form of a deep sleeper experiencing the deep sleep state of consciousness. So waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper, nothing but pure consciousness plus gross body, subtle body, causal body. So waker means pure consciousness plus gross body. Dreamer, pure consciousness plus subtle body. Deep sleeper, pure consciousness plus causal body. These are the three states of consciousness experienced, and how those three states were created because of the mixing, the conditioning done by the gross, subtle, and causal body. This is the basic theoretical understanding. So first get that theorem first. So gross body conditions the pure consciousness. Now don't ask me what is gross body, what is subtle body, what is causal body. All these things we have studied in human composition already. Causal body means vasanas. Subtle body, mind and intellect. Gross body, your full physical body, along with the jnanendriyas and karmendriyas put together. Gross body is annamaya kosha plus half of pranamaya kosha. Subtle body, half pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha. Causal body, anandamaya kosha. All this you have studied, so I am not explaining all that now. Okay, all that you need to get is only this. Now, what is this? This is the conditioning that is happening, is what he is asking. The conditioning is all these three personalities are distinct and different. All three are different personalities. They are independent of each other. The waker is independent of the dreamer. The dreamer is independent of the deep sleeper. Deep sleeper is independent of the waker. All three are independent states. Now, this is where the difference between our understanding of is totally different from what Vedanta says. Now, we all believe dream and deep sleep is experienced by the waker is what we think. Isn't it? That is what we do. We think it is waker's dream. Isn't it? Yeah. It is waker's sleep. Isn't it? That's why you say, I slept. Now, when you are sleeping, that I is totally different from this I, isn't it? You all understand? You know, tough one only. There's nothing tough or anything. Just, we confuse. That's about it, actually. Actually, there's nothing confusing there. They are all different and distinct. Remember, waker is distinct and different. See, different in the sense, totally different when we say what is meant is, in the waking state, you may be invalid. in the dream, you may be the Olympic gold medal winner, sprint, or the other way around. In the waking state, you are an Olympic gold medal sprinter. After collecting the gold medal, you are going to your hotel. In that bus, you are sleeping with the gold medal on your neck hanging. And you just dozed off. And what is a dream? Invalid. You see that? That how can you be Olympic gold medal winner at the same time be invalid also? So, what is conditioning? At every state, you are conditioned by that experience. That's what is meant by. And what is that conditioning? Conditioning is you reject the existence or the reality, or you reject those experiences as valid experiences. You invalidate it. After waking up, you invalidate the dreamer. So the waker invalidates the dreamer. The dreamer invalidates the waker. Now the question is, who is correct? Obviously, waker is correct. Why? You are waker. That is why we keep a judge, isn't it? We don't keep the lawyer. Why? The lawyer will argue for his client only. Even if he finds a fantastic point for the opponent lawyer to win the case, he will not go and tell him. He's not going to do that. He will argue for his. So the waker will argue for him. That's what every one of us. Every one of us are lawyers only. Every mind is a lawyer. What? Will argue for itself. Will argue and try to prove whatever it's saying is correct. That is a condition. Every human being goes through these three states. Every one of us go through that three. At every point, all three are three different things. And at every point of time, I swear by that particular one, rejecting the other two. This is called conditioning. You see, conditioning means what? What is conditioning? It's like, I say, I was referring, here, you get hypnotized. Like they see these people, hypnotism. You see that in the YouTube. Beautiful videos are there. The whole congregation, this man calls for a volunteer from the audience. One fellow comes and he hypnotizes him to believe there is lake. You go fishing. And he actually goes fishing. Another man, it's unbelievable. Huh? We all laugh at him. And we see him, walking. We see him, he actually sees a lake. He actually sees fire. He just keeps one marble stone in sand and says it is a charcoal, hot, burning charcoal. His hands develop blisters. They show. How is it possible? Logically impossible. But he gets completely convinced that this The waker believes in the reality of the waking experience. The same person goes there, rejects this, and absolutely convinced about the reality of the dream experience. You just think no a little. And that's where they throw a bombshell. Says, the truth is, you don't belong to any one of this. If you are really a waker, right, how can there be a dreamer? Hmm? If waker is real, dreamer cannot be. Deep sleeper cannot be. If deep sleeper is real, dreamer cannot be, waker cannot be. If dreamer is, but what is interesting is for the waker, waking is real, dream and deep sleep is unreal. Therefore, the question comes to is what? What am I now? And I am so convinced about the problems that I encounter as a waker in the waking state and start seeking solutions. And we believe spiritual, God, religion, Vedanta, these things are going to give solutions for it. This is what Ramana goes on saying. You don't know. These fellows, they come, I don't know for what they are coming, he says. All weird things these guys comes and ask me. And we imagine you were told, you study Vedanta, none of your problems are going to be solved. How many of you will study? That's an introduction class. You just go back and read, no, the first introduction class is there in YouTube, just for the heck of it. Go and listen. There it will be told as what? You study Vedanta, your life will become peaceful and you will become productive. You can be prosperous, you can be peaceful, you can be healthy, you will have wholeness and wellness, holistic life, this one, that one. 1,001 promises will be given to you. Now, what is that, sir? We go to God for what? For solutions to our, we look for solutions to our problem. What is the solution for the dreamer's problem? The dreamer's problem. The dreamer has a problem in the dream. Okay. I don't know. I think there's, the net connection is unstable, it says. So sometimes I may just go freezer. Suddenly I may freeze. Right. Like the waker believes in the reality of his problems, the dreamer believes in the reality of his problems. Because you believe in the reality of the problem, you start seeking solutions, correct? Now, imagine a dreamer, you get a chance to meet the dreamer. The dreamer is coming to you with the dreamer's problem. What is his problem? There's a pandemic. Where? In the dream. Lockdown. There's no this one, no that one. So much of problem is there. I'm not sure whether my company will keep me or not. So is there any chance of this, that? He comes and asks, he's crying, he's weeping. Another fellow comes and says, no marriage, they're not marrying me, I'm not finding a boy. No, nowadays we have to say the other way around. No girl is willing to marry me. That's the problem now. What to do? What to do? The dreamer comes and cries. Now, what is the solution you will give? If you give that real solution, will he agree? The solution you have to give to that fellow is what? Wake up. Right? Suppose if you tell that fellow, he is coming to you for his job, he is coming to you for his promotion, he is coming to you for his marriage, he is coming to you for child, he is coming to you for this, he is coming to you for that. Now, can you help me? Help me, help me, he is coming. You are telling him, wake up. He will think of you as what? Practical. You have to tell that fellow what? You have this problem. Okay. You see that there is one temple near Kumbhavanam. Okay. This Grahas temples are nowadays, this, Shiva temple has not become. Shiva temples they're all in a dilapidated state. This is the condition for Shiva temple. But this Navagrahas temples are becoming very, very popular now. Of late. They're becoming very powerful. People come from all over the world. I heard one fellow came here, 15 days from US. He landed here in Bangalore. Next day, he's not here. Hey, yesterday only that fellow came. Where he has gone? No, they have gone to this Koke Subramanya temple. I said, no, there is some, Sarpa dosha is there, it seems. So you have to go for this Koke Subramanya temple. You go and you do this. And I thought, okay, he is back. He went there 2 days, disappeared. The fellow came back. I said, no, are you there? Can we meet? No, I'm a little busy now. I said, what busy? Marriage, he says. He just comes back, finishes that, goes this. You go and tell that fellow, wake up. He will think, are you off? What's wrong with you is what he will think. That belief is what is referred as conditioning. Theoretically, conditioning is that graph that I showed you, that PowerPoint. That is very easy. What is it? Pure consciousness conditioned by the gross body. He is the waker. You get 2 marks for that. If you do, exam, you get A+. You get this. You can write an examination on that. That conviction, this is so necessity. This looks so real to you when they are all unconnected. That's the best part of it. All unconnected things needs to be connected to give it a reality. How can you connect the unconnected things? Isn't it? You all realize there was a time once you were so tiny, so small, infant. Invalid, actually. Once the infant is an invalid state. Zero value addition by you to the world, to the house also. That is totally different from boy, child. Suddenly you said, I am a child. This is much before that. Child. Child is totally different. Child is completely different from teen. Teen is completely different from youth. Youth is completely different from man, woman. That is completely different from middle age. Totally different from old. A senior citizen and then super senior citizen. Now, all different things. You have to connect all different things and say, I am saying, the waker is totally different from the dreamer. The dreamer is totally different from the deep sleeper. Deep sleeper is totally different from the waker. All three totally distinct and different personalities. All three comfortably are connecting as I. Isn't it? I. Unconnected gets connected through that I. That I, which is connecting all these unconnected things, has to be distinct from those things, is it not? The various movies that is projected on the screen with which you are able to see the movies, right? The movies are all different, but the screen is the same one. That's the connecting factor. What is enabling you to see all the movies is the presence of the screen, but we are totally oblivious to that screen. We get totally lost in the movie. That's what we say. If you want to learn objectivity in life, you say, world is not real and all that. Take that fellow for a movie. You know it's all scripted. Nothing there is real. It's not. Right? Can you convince yourself, can you remember that throughout the movie, I am just watching a movie? However boring that movie is, you will forget. That's called conditioning. You are conditioned by that experience. What is this conditioning, sir? Conditioning is, to a staunch devotee of Rama, Christ will never come in his dream, isn't it? Buddha will never come. Yeah? To a staunch Jain, and Muhammad will never come. Mahavira only will come. That's called conditioning. Conditioning means that mental association, that constant association. That association has got nothing to do with physical, remember. Association is not physical. Association is mental. How much you are mentally associating with that. More and more and more you associate with it, it will start appearing real. I've seen these kids playing with the toys. We used to, my daughter used to do that. Every child does that. It's not nothing particular, right? Nothing special. She had, everyone comes, they'll bring, because we have a standard one, If it's a girl child, teddy bear. If it's a boy child, car. This is a standard one, gifting. So she used to have, about, 7, 8 teddy bears to be there, different ones, So every day evening she will play teacher game. She is a teacher, and all the toys, she'll make them sit, and she'll be teaching and all them, and she'll turn around and say, "Don't talk," and she'll say, "Zip your mouth," and she has names for each one of them. He'll call them out and you say, zip your mouth. What? It's a toy. To her eyes, what is it? It's a living thing. How that came in? That's called conditioning. That total conditioning that you have. That's the best example I can think of. To that person who is going through the suffering looks so real. Why? Mental association. You associate with it. In earlier days, we used to go to Chennai in the train. The train, there is one problem we have in traveling, particularly AC compartment. That's why hardly I travel in AC. Sometimes, you have to travel in AC, they put in AC. So the AC compartment, the problem is this. By rarely we will get, lower berth. But I have never slept in the lower berth in my life because someone or the other will come. One old lady comes. Tambi, she will come. I say, where you want me to move? First question I ask them is that, where? She will say, there, pa, they have given me this. I have put, senior citizen. I don't know why they have given. I say, ma, you sleep here, I'll go there. So I went to the upper berth. Sleep. In the midnight, I see her, started scolding. Nasama, this one, that one, she is, scolding. I said, what are you scolding? Who are you scolding? She said, I am scolding, it's so disturbing. I said, who are you scolding? He said, that bed bugs. I am scolding the bed bugs. I said, the bed bugs. Where you will get bed bugs in the train? It's all Rexin. The Rexin, how will you get it? And then she said, what else I can do? I can't scold that fellow. No. She's pointing out to the fellow opposite. I can't scold him, therefore I am scolding the bed bugs, he says. Why? Snoring. Fellow was snoring like, I caught down, I said, he's also coming, in the train. Now what to do? You have to manage and sleep only. I was not having the earplugs and all that. So I said, you have to sleep. But then, I gave one technique. I said, always when, God is giving trouble, there will be a silver line. You see, you look at the silver line, you forget all this. So wherever, even when someone scolds at you, look at their floweriness in the language. You will learn a lot of new words. When they used to use, bad words to scold you, your vocabulary will increase. So you can thank him for increasing your vocabulary. All that, something you can point and you can. So I said, focus on that. I said, look at him. How musically he is snoring. Focus on that, It's like it goes along with the train, kadak, 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 kadak sound, Along with that, he is snoring so nicely. And she said, Thambi, thanks, Pa. He said, and she went off to sleep. Then my problem started. Because now, two. Earlier there was only one. Now there are two. This lady also started now. A total distortion now. There's no connection between that and this. This is the problem of life. To the fellow who is suffering, to him, his suffering looks so real. And it is impossible you can persuade him to say that this, forget about persuading. Persuade him to suspect that is it real? Now, I am so convinced that I am waker. can you suspect that? Are you really waker? Why? Because later on I come, you say what? I am dreamer. You say, I am Olympic gold medal winner right now. 2 minutes later I come and ask you, say what? I am invalid. Please help me. You say, now, what are you? Are you this or you that? You cannot be both. That is not possible. How can you be this? I am this right now, I will be that at that time. Then you have to be a split personality. Then there's something wrong, Schizophrenia. That is also not. That problems are looking so real for us. Therefore, what do you do? Quickly, I have to get a solution for it. And in life, there is no such thing called fast or slow. You know that? You don't get older faster, nor do you get old slow. It has a phase. It just goes through the same pace. There is no fast, there is no slow. That fast and slow is your creation. It's not in reality. The time moves faster sometimes, moves slower sometimes. Is it real? No, it's your creation. You make it faster. And you wanted to go so fast. Therefore, we wanted to create a quick fix solutions to our problems. Quickest one. Quickly, I have to find a solution to this. All this is stemming from where? From your fundamental belief that I am waker. That is called conditioning. Understand conditioning. Put the opposite. That is unconditioned. To understand unconditioned, you should be deconditioned first. That's what one lady asked, one student asked Vivekananda, have you come here to hypnotize all of us? He said, no, certainly not. Why? You cannot hypnotize a person twice. You know that? He said. He said, how can you hypnotize a fellow twice? You can only dehypnotize. You cannot hypnotize a man who is already hypnotized. You are already hypnotized by your experiences. I have come here to dehypnotize you. What is this? Who am I? Like in Bhajagovindam, he asks, no, Kastvam koham kuta ayatah ame janni kome tatah. Who is my father? Who is my mother? Who is my grandfather? He's asking, who is your father? That's what the verse is. Now you have to ask that. Who is your grandfather? Don't say so and so is my grandfather. Don't you know that? Immediately you take out your birth certificate and show. This is my father, this is my mother, this is this. Now who is that? Where were you before you entered your mother's womb? Where were you? Don't say DNA. This is my father, this is my DNA. First of all, DNA itself is not yours. You know that? You can't say, this is my DNA. That's not yours actually. Where were you before you have entered your mother's womb? Half with my mother, half with my father. Where were you? Where will you be? This is the answer given by Buddha's charioteer. All charioteers are very knowledgeable. You know, Buddha, when he was traveling, he was asking this question: why they are carrying that fellow? He can't walk. He didn't say he is dead. He gave a fantastic reply. He says, the owner of that body had left and he will not come back. Therefore, they are taking the body to burn. The owner of the body had left, he says. He will not come back. That owner will never come back again into this body. Therefore, what they do, they'll take that to burn. So Buddha asks, you mean to say the same will happen to me also? It says, yes. The owner will leave. Who is the owner? Who is that who is claiming, I am the waker, I am the dreamer? That ability to question needs courage, needs tremendous courage to challenge it, even to suspect it. You don't need to even challenge it, says. At least develop that suspicion. The conviction with which, the convenience with which you connect all that unconnected things and believe that to be real is known as conditioning. That is why it is called as waking state is a conditioned state, dream state is a conditioned state, deep sleep state is also conditioned state. What is that unconditioned state? Forget about it. There's no necessity to know. Understand the conditioned state first. Try to recognize that conditioning. Automatically, it will take you to this fundamental question. Then, who am I? If this is the case, then who am I? That will help you to understand that unconditioned. Okay. Let's see, there's one more question. We'll see in the next class. See you. Thank you. Hari Om.